Hey guys, last tutorial in this mine. I've done like two tutorials, well now three in this cave. Now I'm gonna show y'all how to extract or exfil or just get to the drop pod. Now I've seen, or at least I saw one comment on Twitter. Someone said that, oh, you need to be the driller class to, get to the drop pod, or, this game sucks, the solo experience sucks. So I'm gonna do a solo exfil or solo drop pod run all by myself. So whenever you're done collecting your minerals, always make sure that you also get your secondary objective done. Now if Molly or the mule is already running away by then, or you had to deposit something, don't worry, you still actually have a chance to deposit any... Okay, we're definitely gonna use the drop pod. We got a swarm coming out.
Stand clear.
So anyway, this is what you want to do. You want to look at Molly. Just stay near Molly whenever you push that red bid button, right? And Molly is basically going to be your navigator. Now it's very important to follow Molly. And we got a swarm too. This is awesome.
Drop pod has arrived.
I don't even got ammo. So it looks like Molly's going up here. So I'm playing as an engineer. A little traversal here and there. So whenever Molly is going to the drop pod, Molly is going to leave behind a lot of these little navigational poles, and it will actually show you arrows as to which way to go. Now usually Molly would take most of the regular routes that you've already drilled into or already explored into. There are some cases where Molly will go into like some sort of like tiny, really tiny mined hole, and that might cause a problem for players, but in this case, it looks like Molly is just going down the little directional path that we've already went through. So during this time, you're gonna get a lot of enemies, and depending on how hard of a level you're playing at, it's gonna be a little tricky. So this one, we already have a tricky one right here. Gonna mine a little bit and get up here. You can see, if you hold L1, you can see the location of Molly highlighted on your map. You can see it. You can also see the drop pod as well, or at least the drop pod's near there. Might have to do a little bit of climbing. Let's see. This is a little bridge I made as an engineer. You know, each class has their own type of traversal mining type of experience. The gunner can deploy zip lines, and the scout can use their grapple hook, and the engineer can basically deploy these platforms and even make bridges. And another cool thing is that you can place zip lines on those platforms, so you can actually combine that with the gunner and the engineer class to do some pretty awesome combos. Or, better yet, you can be the driller class and basically just drill a hole to the drop pod. I do it all the time. So again, we're going up right here. We're just following the route that we've already come by. Most of the time the drop pod will usually be at the starting area. It is actually like the starting area we started off at. So then Molly is gonna get up there. If you ever need to deposit anything, you can go to this little grinder on the side of the drop pod, and then you can deposit any last second minerals or whatever you need, and maybe even complete a secondary objective in the nick of time. But once all players are inside this, drop pod zone, that basically means the mission will end. Most of the time though, if you're playing in co-op, it can actually be harder because you have to wait for everybody to get to the drop pod, and most of the times if one person does go down, it can actually just leave without you and you won't really get any bonuses, but you'll still complete the mission though regardless. At least one miner has to, get to the drop pod at least. But that is basically how you use the drop pod solo. Play that mission for like an hour. Got a lot of loot from it too. Not too hard, or just make sure that, make sure you're following Molly. Alright, that wraps it up.